Humans cannot fly. That's a fact. It's reality. That reality is based on stubborn laws like gravitational attraction that we cannot change. But what if reality was replaceable? What if we could use something Jim Henson called ridiculous optimism to look for new ways to implement those laws so that instead of stopping us, they actually propel us to a new reality? Could we fly? I don't know. But Douglas Adams said that for flying, the knack is learning to throw yourself at the ground and miss. Carpe diem, my friends.
Ow. A few hours earlier.
I'm free from the down. Where can we fall off? I'm free.
Oh, yeah.
What can do about you?
Want to build a zip line?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Okay, so truth time. No, you can't watch this video and build a 200-foot zip line and not kill yourself. It's a little trickier than that. I've been building zip lines for 40 years now. Yeah, I started when I was 7. Do the math. This video is not actually a how-to, because there's no way I could fit 40 years of information into a 10-minute YouTube video. And there's no way you could watch a 10-minute YouTube video and know how to keep yourself safe on something that's extreme. So think of this video as common sense tips. Think of it as a few helpful tips that as you're building smaller, safer zip lines, you can turn back to this and review some helpful things that might keep you from getting very badly injured. And I have been injured on zip lines before. It's nothing to mess around with. I have a lot of fun making these videos, but in reality, I want to be safe. I want anybody watching to be safe. So here's a few things to consider when you're setting this thing up. So once you get up to your high point, look around. What do you have here to fasten to? Got a lot of good tree choices up here. This one right here is the one I want though. This one's solid, the bark is good, it's got healthy branches, it's nice and high. If you look at the kind of wood, it's an oak. That's pretty sturdy. It's got a nice stem I can tie to. So if I stand at the tree I'm starting from with the high point, and I look onto the lower ground, at some point, hopefully, I'm going to see my path. Yeah, and I think I found it. So here's my zipline path. The rope I've got is 200 feet long. And if I'm going to connect it to that tree right there, that means the end of the rope is going to come right about here. But that's my problem. There is no tree here. So there's 100 ways to solve this problem. This is how I'm going to solve it. I need 2 trees. Just 2. Let's get rid of the others. Then I'm going to add a pulley on a carabiner to the end of my main line. Then I'm going to add a second rope, tie it around the first tree, clip it with a carabiner, put it through the pulley, tie a second pulley to the second tree, loop the rope through that, back up, and I'm going to tie a scam system to give myself 2-to-1 mechanical advantage on this leg of the main line, giving me 4-to-1 mechanical advantage in the overall system. Adding a rope grab for progress capture finishes off the system because it's going to take quite a bit of power to pull that rope taut coming down the hill. Get a serious rope. If you don't buy a decent rope, it will break and you will die.
Would you know my name if I saw you in heaven?
Don't go to the hardware store. The hardware store isn't going to have this kind of rope. Go to an arborist supply store. Look it up. Use Google. The difference is you're going to pay about $1 a foot for a good rope, but when you get it, it's going to be rated in thousands of pounds, not hundreds of pounds. For life support, a rope should be rated at least 5,000 pounds or 23 kN. Also, these ropes are a lot less stretchy. Those hardware store ropes, it's going to stretch right down to the ground. These ropes aren't. These are solid. The first zip line I built when I was 8, we pulled a rusty metal seat off of the swing set and slid down on that. But that was back in the 1970s, when it was a lot more dangerous just riding my dinosaur to school every day. Here's something I got off Amazon. It's a harness. It works. It's rated at 5,000 pounds. All of the equipment you hook up doesn't have to be expensive. Buy something that's at least going to keep you alive and going to keep you safe. Here's a figure 8 with wings, rated at 40 kilonewtons. That's a lot of weight. That's safe. Here's the trolley I'm going to be using. This one happens to be made by Petzl. It's rated at 24 kN. Anything above 23 is safe for life support, as long as you use it appropriately. If you're going to do something like this, you need to at least spend the minimum to keep yourself alive. If you're going to tie off to a tree, you don't want to tie off to this tree. It's too small. So you find a nice big tree like this. You're about to side load this tree with a rope and then put a lot of weight on it. So how can you tell if this tree is going to hold for you or if it's going to drop you on the ground? First thing to look at, is it alive? Do you have branches up there? Did it put out leaves this year? Is it still green? A lot of times you can see in trees, for instance this tree over here, a lot of dead branches sticking out. That's not safe. That tree is either dead or dying. Watch out for branches or codominant stems that have bark inclusion. That means the bark has grown down into the crack and it's weakened the joint. And if you tie to this branch, it might break off.
There is no inclusion here. Fake news.
If you're a tree and you're in danger, branches are expendable. If there's a storm that comes through, it's much more likely to break the branches off than to break off the trunk. So don't put stress on the branches. The tree might just hand it off to you, and you don't want that. You'll wind up dead. Remember, when you find a good solid looking tree, always check the branches. Nope, that one's dead. It got hit by lightning. Take a good look at the trunk. If you see the bark peeling off like this, don't use that tree. That tree's dead. Another thing to consider when you're looking at your path is there vegetation that's in the way? Are there obstacles in the way that are going to hurt you when you come down? If you see a tree with conchs growing on it like this, don't tie into that tree. That tree's starting to rot. If you tie into a tree with conchs on it like this, watch out for leaners. Remember, a tree is literally a machine that's lifting carbon up into the air, and it's fighting gravity the whole time. A tree that's leaning is already doing its share of fighting. That means that that wood down at the base and along the trunk is all under stress. It's either being stretched or compressed. You got to be really careful putting an extra load on a tree like that. If you're going to, at least help it out and put the load against gravity so you're pulling away from the lean and not towards it.
Would you know my name?
So at the top end of the zip line, I need a few extra feet on the rope. I want to make this as long as I possibly can. I've got 200 feet of rope and I need to go about 210 feet with it. So I'm starting off with a tow strap up here. This thing's rated at about 12,000 pounds, a little over 45 kilonewtons. Nice and strong. I've got that coming down, hooked to a good strong locking carabiner, hooked to my climbing rope. Everything rated over 5,000 pounds. You'll notice up at the top I also installed a carabiner for retrieval so I can get that thing back down without climbing up again. There it is, 200-foot path going to the tree. Now with the stretch of the rope, I probably won't go 200 feet, but that's still a sweet ride. All right, for the lower end of the main line I'm going to be zipping down. I need to attach this carabiner midline, and I'm going to put a rigging pulley in there to manage this end and give me a little bit of mechanical advantage to tighten that line up because it's got a lot of weight on that rope. If you need to attach to your rope and create a loop on it midway down the line, the best knot to use for it is an alpine butterfly. If you don't know how to tie an alpine butterfly, and if you can't tie it blindfolded like that, you need to watch this video here. My friend Patrick will show you for free. So I've got an alpine butterfly on the main line. I'm putting my carabiner on it. I'm hooking my pulley to it. And I'm putting my secondary line through the pulley. Now I've got a good solid connection to the main line. So for the first tree, I kept it simple. Double wrap around the tree, carabiner through the eye on the end of my rope, and then back onto the main line. On the second tree, again, I'm keeping things pretty simple. I've got the strap I normally use as my basal anchor, tied to a pulley. then I'm heading the rope back towards the pulley coming off the main line. Coming off my main pulley on my split tail, I could do another alpine butterfly here, hook another carabiner to it, hook another pulley to that. But I happen to know a shortcut. And if you've seen this video here, you know what this is. This is a scam. You can tie a scam knot with a single carabiner and get a little additional mechanical advantage that way. I've got my scam set up, and then back here at the tree, I put in a progress capture device. So I've got a rope grab here connected to the pulley, and now you can see if I pull on this, it's going to tighten up the whole system and it's going to capture progress for me, which is really handy. So I can tighten up that rope or loosen that rope as much as I need to from this point. All right, so now I've got my line tensioned, I've got my rope tied off, and we are ready to test the line. All right, so once you got your zip line all set up and it's going down the hill, before you chuck your carcass down a hill, make sure you test out the line. Don't just fling yourself down it. All right, so you got to find something kind of heavy to put on your rope to send down it the first time. With this, I've got a run here that no, okay, first of all, never put a dog on a zip line, okay? What is wrong with you people? All right, Maggie, it's okay. All right, so you need to find something to send down the zip line though. Now remember the plan. Hold on tight. Go that way, fast. And if you see a tree, turn. Ready? Go. You did it. Good job. How was that? Cute kid, but don't get distracted. We're talking about testing a zip line. Stay focused, people. Okay, ready? Here we go. Here goes. So now we know the rope at the tension it's at right now is going to get me about halfway down at a pretty good clip. So let's tension the rope and let's try it with a heavier load. Going full circle. Did I create a reality where humans can fly? Maybe. Or maybe it's more like Buzz Lightyear said. It's not flying, it's just falling with style. Something that's
Everybody who walks through the forest tells me that they love my branches, that my branches are the best, frankly. Birds really are just flying rats, as we all know. I tweet much better than birds do. When I tweet, birds listen. One time, a bird tried to tweet back at me, so I blocked it. I blocked it with my branches, my perfect, oversized, wonderful branches.